On today's show, Luka Doncic went off the other night. 60-point triple-double. What were the best things about Luka's 60-point night and the Mavs win over the Knicks? Let's talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
I don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Shouldn't be here. Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager at the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to comment anything below. Let me know, what's the best thing that happened? What's the best thing about Luka's 60-point triple-double in the win? Maybe something in the game, one of the things that happened after the game. There's some great stuff. Joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, and contributor at Mavs.com, the triple-double dude, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Ooh, I mean, if we're talking about the best things, today we're talking about the best things from that night.
Yeah.
You know what's underrated? Nobody's talking about it. I mean, nobody.
Tell me who's not talking about it.
Nobody is talking about this.
Cato didn't
today.
talk about it. McMahon didn't talk about it.
Nope. Nobody wrote about
Callie
it.
Kaplan didn't write about it.
Nobody
The Mavs
talked about
Moneyball
it.
crew didn't write about it. They wrote like 8 things yesterday. They didn't write about this?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay.
And it was nobody even talked about it in the post-game presser.
Okay.
We had an all-time performance of the Whataburger fry toss. The guy hang his jersey in the rafter. He missed one fry toss.
Ice in his veins. Ice in his veins. Like
a perfect stash, just a stash. And he was wearing the red ketchup shirt. Like,
so if you've never been to a Dallas Mavericks game, they have this game where they have these buckets that look like, the fry buckets from Whataburger. Whataburger's a fast food burger chain here in Texas, and I saw one in Florida the other day. I was like really surprised. I was like, oh, look, here we are, Whataburger. And
Florida.
They take these like fries that are like the size of like pool noodles, and they're probably like the same sort of like weight, and they have to toss them across the court and get them into the bucket. And if you get a certain, you're going against somebody, and so if you get more than the other person, you get one chance. You get a different colored fry, and you get to toss it into the bucket, and you get free Whataburger for a year, and everybody in your section gets free Whataburger for like the day or whatever. Yeah, this dude missed one, and then he gets up, not even concerned, like grabs the last one, not even concerned about it, tosses it in, gets it, and like puts his hands in the air like he knew it was going to happen. It was like it was rigged or something.
I've never seen efficiency like that. I've never seen somebody miss just one fry. So hats off to that guy. I don't know his name, but nobody was talking about that. He deserves his praise.
That's amazing. If you're a listener, please reach out to us. Tweet me if Twitter is still working at Nick Van Exit, or DM me.
I'm not lying. If that was you, I want you on the pod for a segment.
Yeah, we gotta know.
Nick, but you're gonna come on the pod for a segment. I gotta ask you like your form, how you trained, and like what life's been after this moment.
Oh my gosh. Couple of really good things that happened after Luka Doncic's really good game. We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about the MVP odds. The MVP narrative has sort of started. Hold on. I got to take a drink because I said narrative.
Uh-oh.
With MVP. I promised the listeners I would. So the MVP discussion is starting up with Luka. We'll talk about his odds according to BetOnline. And then we'll talk about some other players that had really good contributions in that game that we didn't get to because we spent the whole time talking about Luka, because that's what we should do after a game like that. But there's a couple other players that played really well, and we'll talk about them. All right. The thing that we failed to mention yesterday, maybe the best thing about this game, has no ramifications for anything except we got a brand new drop that I am just so excited to use.
I'm tired as hell.
You can rest later. You're young.
I need a recovery beer.
Luka, after the game, talking to our friend of the pod, Jeff Skin Wade, and he says,
I'm tired as hell.
I'm tired as hell, which we're going to use a lot, I feel like, going forward. I'm keeping it on the board. That's an incredible drop. And then, of course,
I need a recovery beer.
I need a recovery beer. Isaac, how many times do you think Luka has taken a recovery beer after a game this year?
I mean, he had one before he talked to us last night, so he already had it post game. I'm so disappointed that Skin did not plug Roller Town. I mean,
We'll do it. We'll do it for him.
What are the odds that the guy interviewing Luka is the co-owner of a brewery here in Dallas, and which everybody knows about Roller Town, but still, it was just it was a funny moment that he said it to Skin, and I'm sure he had a few more recovery beers later on.
Oh my gosh. An incredible drop, an incredible moment. Like, this is a quote that we're going to use probably, like, that Mavs fans are going to use forever.
I need a recovery beer.
Right? Like I think that is so underrated. It's going to be something etched in Mavs lore, I think now.
There's a recovery beer.
If you live in Dallas, there's a local t-shirt kind of Dallas merch shop called Bullzerk.
Oh,
and they already have a shirt out.
I can hear the sewing machines. I can hear the printing presses.
With that saying on it already. So it's good.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. What's another thing? Give me another thing from this game or from this this performance from Luka.
Well, I mean, let's just talk about the MVP stuff. Like, I mean, one of the cool things that we talked about last night was how just seeing NBA Twitter that it just was all about Luka. And I mean, so many of the top players around the league, every NBA media was talking about it. Like, I turned it on. I don't even really watch SportsCenter that much anymore. And I turned it on late last night. It's headlining SportsCenter. My wife's talked to me about, like, we're watching the highlights again. Like, it just captured. I got texts from people who don't like watch Mavs games, and they're like, "What happened?" Like, what? And it just captured the whole sports world. And it collectively, or for Luka, it re-energized or reignited the national narrative around Luka's MVP campaign this year. That he went into it with the odds-on favorite to win it. But we know the Mavericks have struggled. It's been, a little frustrating season and stuff for Dallas. And the other candidates right now, like Jokic, put up insane numbers.
Yeah, he's been good.
Joel Embiid, Drew Hanlon's guy, is over in the East. Giannis. There's so many. Jason Tatum, and Ja's in that mix too. That Luka. What'd you say?
Kevin Durant is playing out of his mind for the Nets team that everybody thought was like dead in the water. He's like fourth on the list.
Yeah, and I poked fun at NBA.com's MVP ladder last night, like laughing because they had Luka tied for 7th. That was before his game and all that. But like, it's also a testament to how many guys are playing really good basketball at the top of the league this year. But a night like that pushes, like, Luka had fallen behind a little bit, I think, for a lot of people, just because a lot about team record. But last night was a holy crap. Like, Luka, for a lot of national people, I think Luka is definitely in that conversation. No matter like team record, say if they're 1 or 2 in the West, like, he has to be in that conversation right now. So I think the biggest picture of all is, if he had fallen behind a little bit for some people, it put him back near the top in the MVP race.
He is near the top of the MVP race. Coming up, we'll talk about the BetOnline numbers, where they have him, because they may be closer to the top. And we'll talk about where he should fall in this. Some of his numbers, too, are now he's on pace to have just one of the most incredible statistical seasons we've seen. We'll talk about that and more coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about, it used to be called Truebill. It's now called Rocket Money. And your New Year's goals, there's to manage your budget and to save money. I know that every year I'm like, all right, I got to find a budget. I got to figure out how to to manage my money, because it's coming in and it's going out, and it's going out in places that I'm like, I don't feel like I can't keep track of it. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about. They start streaming services that you bought just to watch one show. It's a free trial, and then all of a sudden you forget, and you like 5 charges later, you're like, oh wait, what is this? Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. Rocket Money will also make canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of a button. You can go and check out Rocket Money right now. Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. Again, rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, Isaac Harris, we're talking about the best things from Luka Doncic's 60-point triple-double win against the Knicks. An incredible game. It was the first time that a 60-point, 21-rebound, 10-assist game had ever been recorded in NBA history. And now Luka Doncic is rising up the MVP charge. BetOnline has the list now. Their updated list they emailed us this morning was Luka Doncic plus 270. He has the best odds to win the MVP. Jason Tatum plus 275. Nikola Jokic plus 375. So that's like a real bunched up group. Luka and Tatum essentially have the same odds. It's just like a little difference. And then Jokic is not far behind them. Giannis plus 500. So he's not too far behind where Jokic is. And then Kevin Durant plus 1,000. Joel Embiid plus 1,100. That one was kind of surprised me that he was so far.
Hanlon's in shambles.
And even below Kevin Durant. John Morant plus 3,300, so he's way far behind. And then Devin Booker plus 4,000. Zion plus 4,000. Maybe after tonight, Zion will be higher because he had a great final 5 minutes or so against the Wolves. Mitchell plus 4,500 and Steph plus 5,000. Why is Luka number one? Should he be number one?
Well, you had to ask that last one there. Here's the thing with this award. Are you asking me or are you asking how I think the NBA is? Because I think he's the most valuable in regards to his team. Like, if we're talking about the most, this is the age-old MVP argument.
Try to talk about the MVP without talking about what the MVP is.
I know that because it's so hard, because if you talk about who's the most valuable player to the team, if you just do that and say, if I take X player off that team, how much worse is that team? Then he's the most valuable player in the NBA, because you compare his roster to the rest of those guys, Embiid, Giannis, Tatum, Morant, Jokic, they all have better teams than what Luka is. But when you look at what this award goes to, then some of these other guys are ahead of him right now. Like Jason Tatum is averaging what? He's averaging 31 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists on the best team in the NBA. I mean, Jokic splitting up. Jokic shooting 62% from the field right now, averaging 25, 11 rebounds, and 9.5, basically 10 assists a game, average a triple-double. And so it's hard to argue against those two guys who are the two best teams in their conferences. And the Mavericks are sitting at 6 right now. Now, the Mavericks keep on winning games. This is why we've always said for Luka to have a shot at MVP, I know the crazy numbers and stat lines are a lot of fun, but they got to finish in the top 4 for him to have a chance. They just have to.
In the West.
He's not in the West. He's not going to win it. I just don't, not with all these numbers and these options. He's not going to win it with them being at 6.
Now, so the Mavs are 11th in the NBA before tonight's games. They were 11th in the NBA. Last year, the Nuggets, when Jokic won it, they were 10th in the NBA. So they're he's not too far out. If he has a crazy statistical season like this, it's not out of the realm of what has happened before. It's not out of the norm for him to win MVP from that position. The year before that, Denver was 5th in the NBA. And so you can win it not being top 5 or top 4 in your conference necessarily, but it does definitely help your case. It makes it a lot easier for you to win that award, and Luka wouldn't have to be supernova human like he was the other night in order to just win it. And so I don't think Luka should be number one, because I think that I take team success than a little bit more. He is the most valuable player, so if you're literally just going to take the award at pure word definition, most valuable player, if you take each of those 3 words and define them, then you're okay, he is the guy, because Tatum has Brown. Everybody's saying they're the best duo in the NBA. Okay, well then that knocks you down a peg for the MVP if you're the best duo in the NBA. Jokic has his guys. Aaron Gordon has been great this year. Jamal Murray hasn't been so great, but he's back. Michael Porter Jr. has not played too much. He probably has a better case. Giannis has Middleton's back. Drew Holiday's been really good this year. Drew Holiday's better than anybody on the Mavs right now, right? And so and then Durant has Kyrie. Joel Embiid has Harden. You're okay, well then now all of a sudden if you look at Luka's teammates, he's way behind what all these other guys have. And so he's number 1 in odds. We're just talking about betting odds today, right? And he's number 1 because of that crazy game last night. And when a crazy game happens like that, everybody's oh man, what about Luka for MVP? I don't think he's most likely to win it right now. If I'm just gonna go, so I wouldn't put money on this, to be honest. I would put money. Who would you put money on right now if those are the odds? Luka 270, Tatum 275, Jokic plus 375, Giannis plus 500, Durant plus 1,000, Embiid plus 1,100.
Just for the odds and the payout, probably Giannis.
Yeah, that's a good one. You put down $100, you win $500 on Giannis if he wins.
Yeah, because just because he's fourth. They're all so crammed up together there. Jokic has the best like statistical team success case, I think, right now. But if he's fourth on that list right now, and the Bucks are just a game or so back from Boston, like what if they overtake them and run away at the first seed and all that? But anyway,
the Kevin Durant one's really interesting because he's plus 1,000, and his team is all of a sudden like they're third, they're tied for second. They have almost the same record as the Bucks right now.
Yeah, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a whole separate conversation because as if you think it's fair or not, I think some voters are just not going to vote for him because of the whole like off-season drama.
I think that's dumb. I think that's dumb.
It's dumb, but like we also thought it was dumb whenever people held 2 weeks of Luka being out of shape against him last year for some things. So
that is true. That was dumb as well. Luka's stats right now after that game, Luka is now averaging 33.6 points a game, second in the NBA, which is wild. That shows you how inflated numbers are right now. He's averaging 33.5 points a game. He's second in the NBA in scoring.
Yeah, he's right there. Embiid's at 0.1 above him. So
I mean, it's still nuts that he's not leading with that many points a game. 8.7 rebounds, 8.8 assists. Only 22 times, only 11 players have averaged 33 or more points per game in a season. None of them had 8 or more assists and 8 or more rebounds, which is crazy. He'd be the first player to ever do that.
That's wild.
There's only 13 players ever that have averaged 8 assists and 8 rebounds just straight up, and he's almost at 9 of both of those. Luka's done it 3 times already. The only other players to have multiple seasons averaging 8 assists and 8 rebounds: Westbrook 4, Oscar Robertson 5, LeBron 3, Magic about 2.5. He had like a 30-game season where he did it. I'll give you a half for that, Magic. So Luka now statistically is just on like a different level with these counting stats than anybody has been in a long time.
He's a Hall of Famer if he retired right now. We've talked about this multiple times, but
love it.
Anyway,
love it. Other things that stood out from that game. We said this on the show yesterday, but I wanted to say it again because it was so funny. Luka's dance. That's going to be a gift forever. So after he hits the putback to force overtime, he misses the free throw on purpose. He gets the putback, and then he like falls to the ground thinking he got fouled, got up, and does a little dance where he like shakes his hands and he's like doing defensive, quick feet. He thought that they had won the game. He was like, all right, we got a second left to defend real quick. And then he thought that they won the game right after that. I thought that was crazy because of all the insane stuff that's happening around Luka, of the presence of mind to hit to miss intentionally and to the put back and like all that stuff. He thought that they had won the game. And and he looked back at the bench to see what he should do too, right before he took that free throw. So the coaching staff was like miss it on purpose. That's why they put JaVale in there and all that.
I would love to see in Luka's face the first time he saw that back, just to see his like reaction to it of like, ooh, that's embarrassing, or he just starts laughing.
I was gonna say, do you think he cares?
No, probably not. But like, I wonder if he thinks it's embarrassing or he thinks it's funny, or like if he's just like, what the crap has happened? I don't even know what I did.
He just looks up and goes,
I'm tired as hell.
Okay, there's a meme of Luka and Tibbs. I'm putting it up on the screen right now. Luka is like mouth wide open, just so excited, and Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks head coach, is standing behind him with like this, what in the world, like face, like look on his face. It is incredible, and that's a meme I think is going to last for a little while, especially in Mav circles.
We've been blessed with so many Luka reactions and faces and emotion. Once again, like this is the fun outcome of Luka being emotional, right? Like, I joked.
Happy Luka.
Yeah, well, I joked a while back on the corner 3 with the Mavs that it's like, hey, we don't like when Luka's emotions come out and he's whining, complaining, all of that. But the moment he has a reaction like this, or he's dancing, or all that, we're like, man, we love this about Luka. This is the give and take about having an emotional superstar.
For sure,
it's just part of it. It's part of the Luka Doncic entertainment experience, and it was a lot of fun, a few nights ago.
And I think that the players, like his teammates, are with it. They love that side of him, right? And I think that after the game, when you saw the video that the Mavs social media put out as they were distracting us from whatever else, they put out this video of Luka walking into the locker room, And all of a sudden, just all of his teammates come around him and start pouring water all over him. They're so excited. Dwight Powell is throwing it up in his face. And you can see Jaden Hardy in the corner, like just having the time of his life.
AJ Lawson's like,
what do I do? Like, I haven't learned the plays yet, guys. I thought that was awesome. And you hear a lot of things about, is Luka easy to play with? Do guys like playing with Luka? And like, you see a moment like that, and you're like, I think they like playing with Luka.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun seeing them, come in and give the water bath to Luka and all that stuff, and to see all the teammates, go to social media after the game too. And we immediately got tweets. It was a joke. Somebody asked Kid, like, I think Callie asked him, what's the locker room like after a game like this? And he's like, they're all on their phones, which we can verify because we used to, pre-COVID, we used to go right into the locker room after the games. And the amount of times that like players are just sitting around on their phone, scrolling on their phone after a game. I mean, JaVale was on his phone during halftime the other day.
Tell the Salah story.
No. It's time for an ad break.
Coming up, let's talk about some contributions the other Mavericks had. Christian Wood, Spencer Dinwiddie had great games that we didn't get to talk about enough yesterday, so we'll talk about that. A couple more things from Luka's 60-point game. We'll talk about that and more coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about this. Imagine that you're hanging out with some friends. Maybe that you needed a couple.
I need a recovery beer.
Maybe you needed one of those, but one recovery beer turns into too many recovery beers. So at the end of the night, you're thinking, all right, should I call for a ride? Should I just go ahead and drive home? You're thinking, it's not a big deal. I can make it. What are the odds you get pulled over anyway? Even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you lose your job, you total your car, or you could hurt somebody. Everyone knows the risks about driving drunk. The results are often tragic and deadly. However, this doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a couple of drinks, think again. Play it safe and plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over. All right, Isaac Harris. Luka Doncic, an incredible night, an incredible game, and a few more moments stood out that we didn't get to talk about yesterday. One of them, I went back and watched the fourth quarter and overtime because I didn't get to hear Harp and Skin and Followell and all them. Right before Luka with the intentional missed free throw, Harp goes, stranger things have happened. he said that right before, and Followell worked that into his call right afterwards. He's like, stranger things have happened, which is just an incredible moment. Another thing that we'll be saying forever. And Harp is just sitting there silent, and he goes, that doesn't need color. he said, I know I'm the color analyst, but that doesn't need color. And then you don't hear Jeff Skin Wade on there. And you're like, okay, why am I not hearing Skin at this incredible moment? That's because I told you yesterday that I had left my seat a little early to go down to the press room, and I was just going to stand around the court until the game was over. And so I'm sitting in a seat because all of a sudden I saw them coming back. So I'm sitting in a seat in the third or fourth row, and Jeff Skin Wade walks by me. The game's still going on, and they're coming back. And he looks at me and he was like, I went to the post game room. He was like, he left his seat from the broadcast booth and went to the post game room because he thought the game was over. And so he's not on any of the overtime or anything like that. He does get the interview with Luka after the game, but I thought that was hilarious. That he thought it was done. We both thought it was done. Everybody thought it was done.
Skin's the best.
So good.
I love that guy. Are we firing off just rapid fire?
Yeah. You got another one.
I thought one of the best things about last night is it resurfaced Luka draft takes.
Oh, it did. Yeah, it did.
It just resurfaced, screenshots of pre-draft Luka takes from 2018.
Talk soon.
And talk soon. And it was just incredible. And listen, somebody wrote at me and said, hey, everybody misses in the draft. Everybody does miss on the draft, no matter who you are. Okay, that's part of it. There's one thing to have a ranking that you have somebody above Luka. But we know that when Yoda, goes as far as he did and saying that Josh Jackson's going to lock him up and that Alonzo, he's going to average 12 and 5 or Alonzo Trier. When you go that far into talking down somebody, then man, you got to be prepared if he becomes a generational talent. And he wasn't prepared. So anyway, it was just really good to see those resurface again. It was a lot of fun.
That was super fun. And one of the top trending posts on Reddit, NBA Reddit today was, can we finally put the Luka Trae Young trade debate to rest? Like, is it finally just done?
Finally, it's been done. What are we doing?
It has been done. But since Cam Reddish can't even get in the Knicks rotation and Trae Young is like.
And that was another thing I had was one of the best things too is that it happened to the Knicks. You know, if you had to if you had to pick like 5 teams in the league that this could have happened to, who are you listing off? Like
Suns,
you're listing off
Suns, Clippers,
Lakers.
Yeah.
Maybe Hawks just because of trade thing, but like I don't know.
No.
But honestly, I would have put the Knicks in the top 5
for sure.
Just because the history, the KP trade, Brunson going there, like all of that. Like
the last couple of years that the Mavs have lost to the Knicks, and Knicks fans have just been obnoxious about we own the Mavs and that we won the trade and like all that stuff. Oof.
It was funny that Cam Reddish is getting DMPCDs, and it's like that was touted out by some of why the Hawks won that trade too.
While the Mavs are playing like 5 former Knicks on their team with like Tim Hardaway, Kemba, Frank Ntilikina.
Speaking of Knicks fans, there were some videos that came out of Knicks fans watching this game towards the end, and some clips from that I just had. It was a lot of fun consuming that content.
There's one that's going around right now. We'll go ahead and do it. I was gonna save it for the end, but we'll go ahead and do it right now. There's one going around right now of this kid that's streaming the game. So he's live streaming the game. He's sitting in like his bedroom or something, and he's talking about. He's obviously a Knicks fan, and he's breaking down the last big moments of the end of the fourth quarter and overtime. So let's listen to and react to this incredible video of this kid just melting down in the middle of this.
Let's get it, Q Grimes. And he's locking up Luka, bruh. Luka getting locked up. They won't let him. Okay. It's one shot, bro. Like, clap as much as you want to. I'm sorry, but he's not going to change anything. Good layers. Cook him.
Randall hits a shot there.
Since Luka's so good, why we never see Luka play defense? I'll say that for another time.
I've never
but
seen
since Luka's so good, we don't never see him on defense. Come on, man. Life is good, you know what I mean? Life is good, you know what I mean? Let him score that. It's garbage time anyway. The game is over, bruh.
There's 40 seconds left.
The game is over, bruh. Shoot as many threes as you want. Make it. I hope you make it.
Christian Wood hits the 3 with 26 seconds left.
The game is over, bum. It don't matter what you do. The game is over, bruh.
Luka gets the and one after the putback.
Gosh.
15 seconds left.
The game's still over. But Knicks not losing this. Stop playing with him.
His hope is like dwindling right now.
You might be druggy. You might be a drug addict if you think the Knicks losing this. You might be smoking. Of course. Knicks not losing. You have to be an idiot to think the Knicks about to lose this game, bro.
11 seconds left.
Knicks not about to lose. I literally bet my whole life savings the Knicks don't lose.
Dinwiddie hits the 3.
Come on, man. You better make this free throw number 2. I swear to God.
Miles McBride on the free throw line.
Thank you.
He hits the second
Luka
one.
not clutch.
4 seconds left. Luka's at the free throw line.
Luka not clutch.
He hits the first one.
Luka's not clutch.
Intentional miss.
I told you he missed. There's no way. That was luck.
He took his shirt off. It's an overtime. His shirt is completely off.
There's no way, bro. I hate the Knicks. You can't make this up, bro. I swear to God, y'all literally had one job, bro.
There's no shirt on.
I hate the Knicks. I'm finna go comment on the Knicks Instagram page.
Oh my gosh, that is so.
God, that was so amazing. He's like, I hate the Knicks. I'm finna go comment on their Instagram page. I don't know who that guy is. I just saw some.
Nick's socials posted like Walt Frazier highlights to distract him.
Clyde Oh my gosh, that's so funny. The funniest part is you're watching it. If you're watching it on YouTube or if you've seen the clip, he like between the end of fourth quarter and overtime, his shirt is off, and you're like, what? Like, how did that happen?
He was sweating that life savings away.
So good. Oh my gosh. All right, other contributions that Mavs players made.
Well, we're gonna recover.
We're gonna go ahead and do it. The clutch free throws. Christian Wood hit 2 clutch free throws in overtime. Minute 50 left after he got fouled by Mitchell with he drove the lane. Really aggressive drive. I thought that was an incredible drive by Christian Wood, and that's a moment of growth where
big,
I can imagine him just taking that shot, but instead he went and got the contact and got the free throws.
That corner 3 block too. I can't remember if that was fourth quarter overtime. That is legit hustle and not fouling him too. Incredible play.
Christian Wood had a bunch of moments late in this game. So 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Christian Wood blocks Julius Randle. He's guarding him one-on-one under the basket. He gets a block there. 26 seconds left. You heard it in the video of that guy responding. 26 seconds left in the game. He hits that pull-up 3. Randle's too far back, and Wood sees it. Takes the 3. The block that you just mentioned, 2 minutes left in overtime. He blocks Miles McBride on a corner 3, which is super hard to do. He gets the block. And then the very next play, minute 50 left in overtime, Wood does that. He drives in and gets fouled by Mitchell Robinson on the drive, hits 2 free throws. Minute 30, so the next defensive play. Really good contest on Grimes as he was helping out at the rim. I thought he was pretty good defensively late in this game. The Mavs were really locked in. I thought the Knicks kind of they just got away from what their offense was the whole game. And then 20 seconds left in overtime, he got a defensive rebound that essentially iced the game. And that was big because the Knicks had been getting offensive rebounds pretty much the entire end of the game there.
Yeah.
Great moments from Christian Wood.
Yeah, huge moments for him. Adam, hope you heard that. For Dinwiddie, I thought Dinwiddie, that last 3 by him, huge. Towards the end of the game there in the fourth was just massive. I mean, they had to have that 3 so fast. I think that gave Luka his 10th assist of the game too.
9 seconds left in the game. He hits that pull-up 3. It's Luka's 10th assist, and it made it a 1-point game. That's when that kid stopped talking in the video that we just watched. But Dinwiddie had 12 points in the fourth quarter. That 3 that you mentioned before, he had another deep 2 in transition. He had another drive and bank off of transition, a pull-up 3, and a drive. All of his shots were off of these kick-aheads from Luka that I thought, all right, can we do this in the game a little bit more? Can Dinwiddie be the outlet guy where he's, if Luka is part of the defensive play, if they're trying to include Luka in it, can Luka kick ahead to Dinwiddie and he just get stuff done and get a couple of fast break points? Because that's one of the unsung things people aren't going to say about a lot today is that the Mavericks finally had, what do they have? They had 15 fast break points, which is not a lot for a lot of teams, but it's a lot for the Mavericks.
Yeah, and I mentioned this on a solo pod not too long ago, but Dinwiddie's having a quiet season. Quite efficient season that I don't think, some people just kind of brush past. He's shooting over 6 threes a game at 42% from 3. And
great.
He's just having a good, solid season. I thought it'd be a little bit more than what he's doing, but he's still having a good season so far, and you can't overlook that.
Yeah, absolutely. Only taking 12 shots a game, too. I mean, we've been wanting more aggressive Dinwiddie, so maybe we'll get it here later as the season goes on. Dwight Powell, fourth quarter, about 2.5 minutes left. He had a great offensive tip rebound that led to the McBride out of bounds.
Are you being serious or are you kidding?
That's the only thing he did in this game.
I was impressive. An impressive stat line of Dwight playing 30 minutes and no rebounds as a starting center. I don't know how many times that's been done in history.
Almost the Tony Snell. He almost did the full Tony Snell with the 0-0-0.
And a plus 10.
We talked about Jason Kidd yesterday, or putting in JaVale McGee for the tip to force overtime. I honestly, after watching the game back, I think he left him in the lineup in overtime just to get the opening tip of overtime because they won it. The Mavericks have not won any opening tips this year. I've been keeping track of them, and they won the opening tip in overtime. And because JaVale McGee was the one doing the jumping. And so I honestly thought he left him in there just to get the tip.
Should have asked him post game.
So what was your thought about leaving JaVale McGee in there? There you go. Let us know. What were the best moments? What was the best thing about Luka's 60-point win? Who else had some contributions? Let us know in the comment section below. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow with the post game after the Rockets game. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.